First of all, good afternoon to everybody. I'm Giacomo May. I'm a postdoc fellow at the University of Reggio Calabria. And in these few minutes, I try to talk you about the relationship between forest management and soil biodiversity in a special way. And this study is done with the strictly collaboration with Augusto, and I really thanks with Augusto for what everything was done and everything we will do in the future, I hope. So this is a classical situation that we know of vegetation in the planet's Earth. So we have meadow, mantle edge, and forest, and this is the classical dynamics that we have. So the mantle edge try to expand, but the forest on the long way cover everything. But it's only in natural planets, because we are here. We modify something. We modify all this kind of dynamic, and especially in the European continent, this modify of dynamics is very, very strong. And this is not only related to the forest part, but also with the soil, and especially with the man influxes in the last period. But what we change nutrients cycle, mineralization, wildlife, hydrogeology, vegetation, ecological niches, and so on, so on, so on. So as you can understand, we modify a lot of components of the pedogenesis. So we modify also the soil. Especially, it's very interesting what's happened in this part of the soil, the topsoil of the part that we call the humus form. Why? Because in this part we have more or less the 80% of the living organism influence, and we are in this part of the living organisms. We modify, we plasm this kind of living organism complex. In the 1997, Bernier demonstrated how strong this synergy between soil and forest is. The same thing, more or less, we are able to do in a totally different situation. In my group of study, we demonstrate that this synergy exists also in a coppice wood in the Apennines. So soil and forest is strictly connected. But now the question is, how different management affects biodiversity in the soil? There is a more impactful management, coppice or forest, or is real that management abandonment is the panacea for everything? We don't manage, we save everything. Are you sure? So what we try to do, we carry out a really rogue, I say at the beginning, is a very rogue assessment of the value of the Italian forest heritage at topsoil levels in terms of variety and complexity of humus forms. What we have done, we have studied, I have a lot of, we in our group of research have a lot of data about forest, coppice woods, forest conversion, forest plantation, and whatever. So we try to analyze humus forms, and in this humus horizon thickness and horizon composition inside the different way of management of forest. What we have done in the details, we have determined the humus form and measured the thickness of the different horizon. After that, we have counted the compost presence, leaves, seeds, and whatever, for each plant species in the organic horizon, where is possible, that's normal. And we have recalculated everything for each management type evaluated. We compare over that, we compare the different results for ever a sort of diversity index. We are working with a statistician, and we are still working to improve this and correct this kind of index. But what we have in numbers, this is more or less the distribution of the horizon that we have analyzed, and this is the results. So what's happened? As you can see, for the best variety of humus form are in the high forest, coppice forest, and conversion. So we are talking about Italy. So a place very, very, very affected by by human modifying of forest. So we see that forests managed for centuries are the richest in terms of humus variety. After that, we have old growth forests that in Italy are not so rich in this kind of variety. Plantation and neoformation in this case are very, very poor, if you want to say that. We have different situation if we analyze northern part of Italy, central part of Italy, or southern part of Italy. And to be and it's clear how in the northern part of Italy, the richest, also in terms of variety, is the high forest. In the central part of Italy, we have both high forest and coppice like management. And same thing more or less happens in the southern part of Italy. But this change if we assume different spatial scale. If we, for example, see around the 25 hectares, we see that the coppice arrive at the highest level of variety of humus forms. But if we take in place the one area of 100 hectares, we see that high forest arrive at the same level of the coppice forest. Why? Because this is the forest surface of management. Coppice forest have a complete forest surface of 25 hectares, more or less, at Italian level. While because here you have all the phase of this kind of management. Same thing happens for the high forest around 100 hectares. If you analyze the time scale, happens the same thing. In 1 year, you have the best variety in the new formation. But if you take in account a period of 25 years, you can see that the coppice is the more diverse forms of management. In 200 years are the high forest, and 600 years you have the old growth forest that have the most variability in absolutely. So what is our conclusion? The complexity of the humus form varies according to the space-time scale of the ecosystem. The managed forest, in the managed forest, this space-time is dependent on the management type, and is very, very, very important, not the type of the management, not only, but that every kinds of management was done in a very, very, very well way. Thank you for the attention.